The Micah Parsons drama continues to boil over in Dallas. And honestly, if you've been following the Cowboys for more than 5 minutes, this script feels painfully familiar. Here we go again, a generational talent clashing with a front office that just can't seem to get out of its own way. Let's be clear, Micah isn't perfect. He's got his moments. He's outspoken, fiery, emotional. Some call it passion, others call it diva behavior. But no matter how you frame it, none of that changes the fact that the Dallas Cowboys have yet again let things escalate to the point where one of their brightest stars is publicly frustrated and nothing is resolved. Sound familiar? It should, because this is exactly what keeps happening under the Jones regime. Cowboys fans know this dance all too well. First, there's silence. Then rumors. Then the media storms in, followed by vague comments from Jerry and Stephen Jones. Eventually, the player in question gets labeled difficult, fans are divided, and all of a sudden, we're not even talking about football anymore. We're deep into PR territory. And that's exactly what's happening with Micah right now. One of the best defensive players in the league is sitting in limbo while the front office plays chicken with another contract negotiation. And here's the thing. Nobody's saying Micah has been a saint through all of this. There have been outbursts. There have been comments that didn't need to be made. But come on, he's a superstar in his prime. He wants to win. He wants to be respected. And most of all, he wants to be paid. Now, let's be real. Some fans are already checking the trade machine, wondering what 2 first-rounders and a veteran might get them. And yeah, there are whispers, loud ones, about the Washington Commanders. You know, the team coached by Dan Quinn, the same guy who turned Micah loose and helped mold him into the monster he is today. Can you imagine Micah lining up twice a year against the Cowboys? Can you imagine the emotional fire that would bring? The revenge games? It's the stuff of nightmares for Cowboys Nation. But let's be honest, Jerry Jones would never let that happen. An in-division trade like that would cost so much draft capital, the Commanders would basically have to give up their future to even get a seat at the table. And Jerry, for all his flaws, is not about to be the guy who hands a Super Bowl contender their missing piece, especially not one wearing star blue last season. So what's the likely outcome here? Pretty much the same as always. Drag it out. Let it simmer through training camp. Let the media run wild. Let the tension build. And then, one quiet afternoon in late August, Jerry Jones picks up the phone. He talks to Micah. They hash it out. The money's on the table. Something in the ballpark of $40 to $45 million a year. And boom, crisis averted. Suddenly, Mike is the highest-paid defensive player in the league. The locker room breathes a sigh of relief, and the front office gets to pat themselves on the back like they just pulled off a miracle. All the while, fans are left wondering why it had to get this far in the first place. Because that's the real issue here. It always gets this far. The Cowboys aren't just bad at handling superstars. They're consistently bad at it. From DeMarcus Lawrence to Ezekiel Elliott to Dak Prescott, and now Micah Parsons, every contract negotiation becomes a saga. Every single one feels like pulling teeth. The Jones family is addicted to brinkmanship. They love playing hardball, dragging things out, trying to get a team-friendly deal, as if somehow squeezing a couple million off the top will magically fix decades of postseason disappointment. And it's exhausting. Not just for the fans, but for the players, the coaches, the entire organization. This culture of constant tension, constant drama, it wears people down. And sooner or later, it's going to cost them something they can't replace. Look, Micah Parsons is not just another good player. He's a game changer. He tilts the field every time he lines up. His presence alone forces offenses to change their entire game plan. That kind of impact is rare. You don't negotiate with that kind of talent. You invest in it. You build around it. But here we are again, stuck in the same cycle. And it's frustrating because it feels so avoidable. If the Cowboys had simply gotten ahead of this a year ago, if they'd sat down with Micah and worked out a long-term deal before the market exploded, none of this would be happening right now. But that's not how Dallas operates. The Jones family plays from behind, and they keep trying to fix leaks after the dam is already cracked. And the fans? They're caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to the star on the helmet and disgust with the people running the show. You hear it all the time, I love the team, but I can't stand the ownership. And that's not just empty talk. That's years of heartbreak talking. Years of feeling like your team is stuck in neutral, while other franchises make bold moves and win rings. The Eagles, the Rams, even the Chiefs, they go all in when it matters. They find ways to pay their stars, surround them with talent, and chase championships like it's their only purpose. Meanwhile, Dallas is out here managing the salary cap like it's a museum piece, polished, preserved, and never used to its full potential. And speaking of cap management, let's not kid ourselves. There's this narrative floating around that the Cowboys are somehow elite at managing the cap, that they're being smart by not pushing money into the future like the Eagles do. But let's get one thing straight. The goal isn't to have a pretty cap sheet. The goal is to win Super Bowls. Who cares if your books look clean in 2031 if you haven't even sniffed an NFC championship since the 90s? The Eagles might be loading up the credit card, but they've already cashed in. They've got the trophy. They've been to the big game, and they're still contenders. So maybe, just maybe, their approach actually works. Meanwhile, Dallas is out here clipping coupons and wondering why they keep falling short. So yeah, the blame falls squarely on the Jones family. Stephen Jones talks like he's the future, but nothing he's done so far suggests a major shift from the past. If anything, he might be even more cautious than Jerry. And that's terrifying, because if the next generation of Cowboys leadership is just as stuck in their ways as the last, then what exactly are we waiting for? More heartbreak? More drama? More almost seasons? This whole situation with Micah is bigger than just one player's contract. It's about culture. It's about identity. It's about whether the Cowboys are serious about competing at the highest level or just content selling hope every offseason. Because right now, it's starting to feel like the latter. And if they don't pay Micah soon, if they let this spiral into another media circus or worse, a trade demand, then you can throw away any talk of being contenders. Because you don't trade away a guy like Micah and get better. You just don't. And while all this is going on, preseason is underway. Fans are trying to focus on the rookies, the depth chart battles, who's shining in camp. But it's hard to get excited about Joe Milton's reps or whether Jalen Tolbert is the real deal when the team's best player is clearly unhappy. The mood hangs over everything. It's not just about what happens on the field. It's the shadow looming over the whole season. But here's the irony. Cowboys fans aren't going anywhere. They never do. The jersey sales keep rolling, the stadium stays packed, and the YouTube comment sections are full of diehards who live and breathe this team. They've been through all. The heartbreaks, the near misses, the wasted talent. And yet, every season they come back. Because it's not about the ownership. It's not even about the players. It's about the star, the identity, the hope that maybe, asterisk, just maybe asterisk, this year will be different. But that hope is wearing thin. And unless the Cowboys front office figures out how to actually prioritize winning over politics, over egos, over this endless obsession with value, that star might not shine so bright for much longer. Because talent only lasts so long. Patience even less. And if they let Micah Parsons walk away, if they let yet another elite talent fall through the cracks, then the message will be loud and clear. As the Micah situation simmers, it casts a heavy shadow over every single storyline coming out of Cowboys camp. Even when we try to shift the focus to the preseason and player development, it's impossible to separate that from the bigger picture, from the storm that's been slowly building thanks to years of poor decisions at the top. And yeah, you can talk about next man up and keeping the locker room focused, but players aren't stupid. They know what's going on. They see a guy like Micah Parsons, arguably the best defender in the NFL, struggling to get what he's worth. That sends a message. It tells the rest of the roster that even if you're elite, even if you're the heartbeat of the defense, even if you're the face of the franchise, you still have to beg and wait and posture and play the game just to get paid. That's a toxic precedent, and it creates a ripple effect, whether the front office wants to admit it or not. So when guys like Jalen Tolbert are out here grinding through camp, trying to secure a role, when Joe Milton is trying to prove he belongs on an NFL field, all of it is happening under this unspoken tension, this lingering feeling that success might not be enough. And that's brutal, because if you're a young player on this roster, what exactly are you playing for? A chance to make a name for yourself, sure. A shot to earn a second contract, maybe. But in Dallas, even the second contract feels like a gamble. Because the Jones family has built a reputation not for rewarding production, but for dragging it out until there's no other option. That's not team building. That's just reactionary football. And let's talk about that camp atmosphere. Yeah, there are some flashes. Some good days. You hear about guys like Tylen Holden stepping up, making plays, trying to earn their spot. But even in those cases, there's always a catch. He's still buried on the depth chart. He's still working with the twos. And you get the sense that even if he balls out every day in camp, the front office already has their minds made up. It's like the Cowboys operate off a script. We drafted this guy, we paid that guy, so they're safe no matter what you do. So yeah, maybe Holden ends up on the practice squad. Maybe he gets that sixth receiver spot if they even carry six. But is that based on merit or just convenience? Same thing with players like James Houston. You look at the edge room, and it's deep. We're talking about a stacked group, and that should be a good thing, right? Depth is a blessing in the NFL. But when you're a fringe player fighting to crack that rotation, it feels more like a closed door. And again, that wouldn't be a problem if the organization had a track record of making bold, merit-based decisions. But instead, they play it safe. They stick to the script. And guys like Houston become long-term practice squad projects. Not because they don't have the talent, but because the path is blocked by politics and contracts and pre-established pecking orders. Now, the fans are watching all of this unfold in real time. They're not dumb. They see what's going on. They see the injuries stacking up in camp. They see the lack of urgency from the front office. They hear the empty pressers, the vague answers, the promises that never materialize. And they feel it, that quiet dread creeping back in. That voice in the back of the mind whispering, here we go again. Because while other teams are locking in stars, restructuring deals, pushing chips to the center of the table, Dallas is managing. Carefully, cautiously, as if their main goal is to be fiscally responsible, not competitive. You see the contrast in teams like the Eagles. Yeah, maybe they're pushing money into the future. Maybe it's not sustainable. But who cares? They've already reaped the rewards. They played in Super Bowls. They've built juggernaut rosters. They've gone all in and come out with banners. And that's the point. Football isn't about 15-year plans. It's about seizing your window. It's about taking calculated risks when your core is elite. And make no mistake, this Cowboys core is elite. They've got talent on both sides of the ball. They've got the pieces, but they don't have the aggression. They don't have that urgency that separates good teams from great ones. And maybe that's the scariest part, that this version of the Cowboys is good enough to be great, but never will be. Not because of the players, not because of the coaching, but because of the philosophy at the top. Because Jerry and Steven are still running the show like it's 1999. Because they still believe you can win big while pinching pennies, playing it safe, and avoiding tough conversations until the last possible moment. And meanwhile, another season passes. Another opportunity slips away. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers around the NFL world have been intensifying as rumors circulate that the Dallas Cowboys may be on the verge of securing a blockbuster trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, potentially acquiring superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes. A scenario that, if it comes to fruition, would instantly reshape the landscape of professional football. Sources who claim to have insider knowledge suggest that discussions between the front offices have been ongoing for weeks, with both sides weighing the enormous implications of such a deal, from salary cap adjustments to roster reconfigurations. And while no official confirmation has been released, the sheer volume of speculation has caused fans and analysts alike to fervently debate what this move could mean for both franchises. Many insiders hint that the Cowboys' interest in Mahomes stems from their desire to solidify a long-term presence at quarterback, a position that has historically been pivotal in their pursuit of championships. And while skeptics question the feasibility of such a trade, given Mahomes' status as the face of the Chiefs franchise, others point to Jerry Jones' willingness to make bold, headline-grabbing moves as evidence that nothing should be ruled out. The ripple effects of such a trade, if it occurs, could extend beyond the Cowboys and Chiefs, influencing free agency, draft strategies, and the overall competitive balance of the NFL, leaving the entire league watching with bated breath for any sign of confirmation. Inside sources claim that Kansas City is not entirely resistant to the possibility of moving Mahomes, despite the quarterback being the cornerstone of their recent success, because rumors suggest the organization is contemplating a bold rebuild or a strategic pivot that could involve acquiring multiple high-value draft picks or young talent in exchange for the superstar signal caller. Analysts are speculating that such a trade could allow the Chiefs to address long-standing roster gaps, particularly on defense and along the offensive line, while simultaneously resetting their salary cap for sustained success. And yet, the mere idea of parting ways with a player of Mahomes' caliber generates intense debate among fans, with social media channels flooded with theories about what kind of compensation would be acceptable to both sides. Within this swirling maelstrom of conjecture, some insiders are hinting that personal conversations between Mahomes and key Chiefs executives may have taken place, subtly fueling the fire of speculation. And though there is no concrete evidence, the narrative has already begun to take on a life of its own, prompting fantasy football players, commentators, and team strategists to reconsider projections and rankings. If even a fraction of these rumors prove true, the Cowboys could suddenly transform from perennial contenders into an immediate favorite for a Super Bowl appearance, while the Chiefs would be forced to reimagine their offense around a new leader, creating a storyline that the NFL has not seen in decades. And the uncertainty continues to fuel a near-constant stream of discussion across every platform where football aficionados gather. From Dallas' perspective, acquiring Mahomes would represent not just a change of quarterback, but a seismic shift in franchise identity. As the rumors suggest, Jerry Jones sees this as an opportunity to redefine the team's culture, strategy, and long-term prospects, potentially creating a dynamic where Mahomes becomes the central figure in both marketing and on-field leadership. And while logistical hurdles such as contract negotiations, trade compensation, and integrating a superstar into an existing offensive scheme remain daunting, the speculation alone has energized a fan base that has longed for a transformational figure capable of bringing sustained success. Sports commentators are speculating endlessly about how Mahomes' arrival could alter the Cowboys' play calling, the chemistry with receivers, and even the development trajectory of younger players who could learn from one of the NFL's most talented quarterbacks. And though insiders caution that rumors can often exaggerate possibilities, the intensity of the chatter surrounding this potential trade has reached a fever pitch, suggesting that if the deal moves forward, it would instantly become one of the most consequential moves in league history. The narrative also raises questions about potential ripple effects in the NFC, as other teams would need to adjust their strategies to contend with a suddenly reinforced Cowboy squad, creating a speculative chessboard in which rival franchises must anticipate Mahomes' impact even before a single snap is thrown. Meanwhile, the NFL media ecosystem is abuzz with conjecture, with analysts, former players, and insiders weighing in on social media platforms, podcasts, and televised programs, all debating the likelihood and implications of Mahomes landing in Dallas. And the speculation has become so pervasive that even casual fans are joining the conversation, imagining what this what-if scenario would look like on Sundays, and how the Cowboys' offensive style might evolve under a quarterback of Mahomes' caliber. Rumors suggest that the Chiefs may also be preparing contingency plans, exploring potential quarterback replacements through draft prospects or trade possibilities, though nothing has been confirmed, fueling endless cycles of analysis, speculation, and fan-driven theories, which only amplifies the sense of intrigue surrounding this potential deal. The idea that a player of Mahomes' stature could switch teams, particularly from a franchise synonymous with Super Bowl success to one with a storied but inconsistent history, challenges assumptions about loyalty, market dynamics, and the lengths to which teams will go to achieve immediate success. And the persistent chatter underscores the intense fascination the NFL commands, where even a whisper of a potential transaction can dominate headlines, social feeds, and conversation threads for weeks on end, creating an atmosphere in which rumors themselves become a form of entertainment. Speculation fuels anticipation, and uncertainty magnifies every possible outcome, keeping the league in suspense. Ultimately, The possibility of Patrick Mahomes joining the Dallas Cowboys, while currently steeped in rumor and speculation, has captured the imagination of the entire NFL community, with fans, analysts, and insiders meticulously dissecting every clue, subtle signal, and potential negotiation tactic in an attempt to determine whether this seismic shift could actually materialize. And the ongoing chatter reflects broader questions about team strategy, franchise ambition, and the volatility inherent in a league where a single trade could redefine decades of competitive balance. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.